Join us for a driving review of the Volvo V60 Cross Country. Let's go! In the front, the V60 Cross Country gets this front grille with the vertical fins, some dots inside, a likable design, strong, and also with the crossover contrast here in the lower part in black. Thor's Hammer LED lights are standard, also with this signature right there, and maple brown is the color here for today. The length is at 4.76 m, 15'6" or 187 inches, whereas the cross-country model is 6.5 centimeters or 2.5 inches higher as for the suspension. And that then means ground clearance from 21 centimeters or 8 inches, so a little bit more ground clearance. And you see here the typical estate style. There's also the S60 available, the sedan version. And then the crossover cladding right here, really big and stylish. I think it fits the vehicle. Wheels here for the CC model come from 18 to 20 inch. These here are in between 19-inch wheels, but already look pretty massive. In the rear, the typical Volvo vertical tail lamp style they use for the estates and the SUVs. Again, likable styling, and here also with the LED signature. In the lower part, the cross-country model gets this cross-country stamping that looks quite fancy. As we know from the Volvo combustion engines, 2-liter 4-cylinders, and in the US you get the T5, 250 horsepower, turbo petrol engine, all-wheel drive, and here it's called now B5 in Europe. That means with mild hybrid technology, and the one we have today is the B4, but that's then the mild hybrid diesel with around 200 horsepower and also all-wheel drive. Inside of the doors, nice soft touch material, also with an interesting structure, grey fabric on the inside, and in general there are in Europe fabric seats available, and in the US and both in Europe you can get the so-called city weave seats. This is then an interesting structure and beige leather red and fabric on the inside. And here these are the new tailored wool seats, 30% wool, 70% recycled PET. And the wool share is not really necessary. It's a good step away from the animal skin, not entirely animal free, but already a good step. And you know, main fabric feeling and also more breathable in summer and also not that cold in winter times. And here the standard Volvo steering wheel. And getting inside, easy entry and a nice seating position here, mid-size segment. And the seats in general for the V60 and the S60 are quite comfortable. These are so-called already sport seats. The base seats would deliver even more comfort, but really ergonomic. As for the form, you can also put this lower area, shorter or longer, for example, and adjust the steering wheel and so on. And when you put it all the way down with one with a 6 or 6'1", still leaves some headroom, although this one is the one with the panoramic roof, leaves a lot of light inside. Interior overview, 9-inch screen on the right, vertical style, 12.3-inch digital instruments on the left, meanwhile standard. Steering wheel here with a nice and smooth control in and out. Look at how, far this goes. You can really find a good position as for that. The digital instruments are clear to read and also quite, let's say, easy. Overall satisfied. And in the middle part, either stuff is empty or here when you have a route set, then you have a GPS map also in the middle of it, straightforward. Head-up display is surely a nice option. You can see the speed, current speed there, and also the allowed speed. Very helpful to have it in the line of sight. About the infotainment system in general, like this. Here you can select the temperature like this, or also with voice control. Set temperature to 22 degrees.
Temperature set to 22 degrees.
So that works. Home button right here. You can, by the way, when you press and hold it, then you go to the cleaning mode and you can use a towel or like a microfiber. And then nothing happens while you do that. Then here, for example, you can have this so-called app view. Here, for example, is a GPS map, and it does the job. It's also responsive enough. And the rear seating area, also soft edge at the inside of the doors here, that's cool. As for the knee room, that's okay. You can also sit here with tall adults, no problem. So it's also nice and cozy at the rear. Headroom also closely fits. Again, nice view through the panoramic roof, especially from the rear area. So overall good, not too spacious, but overall for the segment also comparable. The trunk area, 530 up to 1,360 liters. Here, this top cover, it does not raise automatically with the hatch, so you have to control it manual. That's something of a flaw, I think. Then the normal length here is just about a meter. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Volvo V60 Cross Country, and it is clearly cross country weather. Yeah, it's typical Germany, or also for our friends from the UK. Typical for certain months to have this kind of weather. Yeah, not too bad as for the temperatures, but definitely a lot of rain. And we have the all-wheel drive version here. So cross-country, of course, combined with the all-wheel drive. Oh, there's a lot of water, and yeah, maybe the additional ground clearance helps us here a little bit today. And indeed, in this vehicle, you do not get an SUV feeling. However, you do feel a little bit higher position of the vehicle, and that gives you a little bit more, like a relaxed feeling. So I really appreciate this cross-country put-up suspension, because it just gives you something in between the normal mid-size estate and the SUV. So it could be actually a good compromise, I would say. Steering wheel is really light and easy to use. Doesn't convey the most sporty feeling, but it's actually, it's okay. Again, not the best feeling, but easy to use and easy to handle in the city and so on. And the size is actually also quite decent. Suspension is, I would say, not too bad, but also not too good. So also something average alike, I'd say. Wheels come from 18 to 20 inch. These here are the 19-inch wheels. If you want a little bit more comfort, then stick with the 18-inch wheels. If you want it sporty and stiffer in the ride, then pick the bigger wheels. 19 is somewhat okay. Still, I would stick with the 18-inch just to give you a little bit more comfort. This is no racing car here at all anyway. Here now the update, at least for the European models, is the mild hybrid technology. We have it here today in the diesel. It's also available for the petrol engine. And you know that our friends in the US only get the T5 petrol engine, whereas we here in Europe would get the B engines. That means it's the mild hybrid technology inside then here. And what happens, for example, when I go downhill now and I'm on the brakes, and I see it also in the digital instruments, small symbol with the battery, then we can regenerate some energy while just running downhill here. So that's definitely helping a little bit with the fuel consumption. And so far, now my result was it doesn't change, it doesn't have like a major effect on this 2-liter 4-cylinder diesel here, for example. It won't be like an absolute game changer, but we could score some equal fuel economy figures for the front-wheel drive diesel without mild hybrid. And then, with the all-wheel drive diesel with the mild hybrid, around 7 liters and 1 kilometers, 34 mpg US, 41 mpg UK, which is not a very good result for a diesel in this segment here. In general, the Volvo combustion engines are not that fuel saving. The mild hybrid technology improves it maybe a little bit, but again, it's not a game changer. Can't expect too much from it. That's why I rather recommend going for the Polestar models, or when you stick with the Volvo models, orient towards maybe the plug-in hybrid models if you can recharge frequently. So combustion engines, Volvo will not develop any further. There won't be like a major change in combustion engines at Volvo anymore. They will focus on electric motors, started with Polestar, and they will also focus on it with Volvo. So again, can't expect too much technology and too much progression as for that. The diesel, you do hear it's a diesel, but whoa. I hate these traffic announcements. Always like, whoa. So getting on the motorway here now, and it's normal D driving mode. You can have driving mode selection here. You can also go to the dynamic mode, then the gears are turned up higher. Now you all also felt maybe or heard that the car was shifting down a gear. And here now all-wheel drive acceleration from 45 kilometers an hour. Let's go. Plop, that's 75, so that went quite quick. And due to the all-wheel drive, I also have, good acceleration, good grip on the road, even though there's like these, rainy conditions. Of course, all-wheel drive won't help you with physics. That means when you're steering and when you're driving too fast in the corners, this is often a misconception that it would be much safer to drive with all-wheel drive, but that only accounts for acceleration, of course, not for just the driving dynamics. Again, a relaxed and comfortable experience here in the V60. Mild hybrid system. Here with some acceleration share, you see that the average fuel consumption is a little bit higher than the minimum figure I mentioned initially. Yes. Now here we're towards 8 liters per 1 kilometers. That's then more than 30 mpg, a little bit less than 30 mpg and US and less than 40 mpg UK. So that's also possible, but again, I'm always not really satisfied with the fuel economy in the Volvo combustion engines. That has been a theme for years and years. The pilot assist is actually quite helpful, not in the construction side, but on the motorway and keeping you in the lane. Steering acts then somewhat artificial from time to time, but overall still a good thing to have. Yeah, and of course listen to this Bowers & Wilkins sound system while driving is also always a pleasure. Nice also with panoramic roof, leaving a lot of light. You see it's very bright inside here, although it is such a dark and rather depressing day. But of course I also hope that with our with our reviews we can always make your day always a little bit less depressing, even if you feel bad from time to time. So once again, by the way, here we're actually good and precise steering. I feel they've upgraded it a little bit, so I have to, maybe it's just a subjective thing, but I think there's a little bit more feeling in that than before. In the dynamic mode, by the way, you have a little bit more feedback, but the main change is definitely that the throttle input is changed and the gears are turned up higher and you shift down again earlier. There's also eco mode, driving mode available. So for throttle input reducing, and off-road mode can be selected when you drive rather slowly. And now to our conclusion for today with the Volvo V60 Cross Country. A nice crossover look, really unique. It fits the vehicle very well. Likeable exterior, the Scandinavian design on the interior. You also have enough fabric choices for the seats available. So you have a very good seating comfort, well usable interior space, so nothing to complain there. Driving experience more a relaxed one, especially with this put-up suspension. Not sporty at all, not steering nor suspension wise. Wheel choices should be rather smaller to keep up the comfort, and overall a likable, comfortable driving experience, and it fits very well, not only visually but also driving wise, that the car is a little bit higher than there from the suspension. Still a very good pick then here in the mid-size segment for the mid-size estates, but the price of course goes really high. The mild hybrid technologies for the European models, it's actually quite nice. It doesn't bring a major game changer for the fuel economy, but is already a little bit better than before. What do you think? Is this one of your favorite Volvo models? Tune in to our comment sections. See you there.